All right, guys, in our last video, we went over PIES. And remember, we talked about physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and how they're all tied together. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to expand on each of these areas. There's certain components in each area that we need to touch on. And so when you're pursuing true fitness, you know, am I doing the right things in each area, okay? So today, over the next couple videos, we're going to talk about the physical fitness. Now, this will be the most familiar to you because of that's what our culture talks about all the time, physical fitness. But we want to make sure we're touching all the bases, and we're probably going to provide a little different view on this than what you've heard or read in the magazines and seen on TV over the years, okay? So physical fitness, the first part of physical fitness is exercise. Okay, so ever since you've been in gym class in elementary school, you've heard the importance of exercise. Some people put a lot of importance on it. Some people in their life don't think about it a whole lot. But exercise is important, obviously. It's what we specialize here in at TTF and the Carlisle Medically Oriented Gym. But we want to make sure that you're doing the right exercise for you to reach your goals, okay? So from physical exercise, we want to make sure that a program addresses mobility. We want to talk about strength. We also want to touch on power development and cardiovascular development. We want to make sure there's a balance component and flexibility, all right? You might think flexibility and mobility are the same, but they're not. Okay, so these are the general 6 that we try to get after, okay? Mobility, strength, power, cardiovascular, balance, and flexibility, okay? Over the course of the last 30, 40 years of exercise and fitness, people in the past would say, okay, I'm going to go walk on a treadmill and get my cardio in. And then they might pick up some dumbbells and do strength training, things like that. What we really like to do here at TTF and also at the Medically Oriented Gym is we think we can get all these things, for the most part, into a 30, 45-minute routine. So it's not going to take up a lot of time, but we touch on all these components. So when you come into TTF or when you are at the Medically Oriented Gym, you're going to go through a circuit-type program where we'll warm you up with some mobility, hit some strength stuff in amidst with some power development as well as some balance. Flexibility, of course, is involved afterwards, but even during some of the movements, you will be working on your range of motion, things like that. In circuit training, you also get that cardiovascular component just because you're moving from exercise to exercise. So it's kind of a passive approach to cardiovascular development instead of getting on a treadmill and going for a run, things like that. But at the same time, the heart rate is up. It's getting into the areas that you need to, sometimes even higher, many times even higher in this type of interval training than it would be just out for a jog or on an elliptical. All right, so the main thing that you need to think about as exercise is where do you want to go with it? What are you trying to accomplish? We're very general as far as our fitness approach. We want people to move better, like we talked about in the last video, move better, feel better, live better. So from exercise, we start with movement. Once we get an increased, you're moving better, then we start to add some resistance and things like that. So when you come into TTF or the Medically Oriented Gym, you're going to go through some type of assessment. That might be purely a movement thing where we're looking at how you move. It might be in a one-on-one session or in our groups where in our warm-ups we're seeing how you move. Or it might be a little more on the medical side where we're checking blood pressure, heart rate, pulse, VO2. We'll do step tests and things like that. And we'll also go through a movement screen. But we want to get you assessed and see where you're starting so we can know where you're going. All right? So make sure, whether it's in Pilates, with Mark or TTF or the MOG or wherever you're exercising, make sure your program is covering these, because if not, just like PIES is everything is intricately connected, this stuff needs to happen. All these 6 things need to be covered for you to be fit. All right, so next video we'll talk about the second component, which is nutrition. So make sure you tune in for that. Check your exercise routine. Make sure you have those 6 things. If not, send us an email, give us a call, and we'll go from there.